Uh, Hello, folks, and welcome to today's Madness, where me and Swiss TV walk you through the madness that's going on in our beloved home country right now. And we've made the assumption that a lot of you have questions to ask what the hell is happening over there. Um, so we'll give you a few tidbits of the sort of everyday stuff that you have to be okay with and expect if you
Yeah, I'm glad you had the idea that we'll make this video in English so we can spread the word to the world. I would say because the world needs to know the madness that is going on in Sweden. I don't know what do you think about that.
yeah, I mean, it seems like recently, at least in the past year, it's been more and more acknowledged internationally how messed up it is. And it really is as bad as it seems. And now when I talk to people out and about, I can sort of tell that it's not this sunshine and unicorn perception of Sweden as much anymore. People have started to realize, and now we want to give you a chance to understand how bad it really is, because obviously international media can't bring up every single incident. But this is Sweden 2021.
Yeah, we said we're going to take up 5 points, and that I will be the one to bring them up, and you'll be the one to comment. So I will start with the first point, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
This will come out in Swedish later on in the Day Madness. But first point that I have on my thing here is Swedish television will promote more of Fredens Islam for the younger viewers under the Ramadan. It's promised by Gårdare, the program chief for SVT Children. So they will promote Islam during Ramadan to Swedish children. What do you think about that?
So just to clarify, this is public service tax-paid television, like the equivalent of PBS in America. And they want to, like you said, involve more of the religion of peace in their children television. And we've talked about this so much, you and I, but how much segregation is a problem in Sweden, and how what the current government is doing right now through all these wicked ideas that they implement in everything from public service to public opinion to everything. It's really divide and conquer, because there's no unity if we don't make it clear what Sweden is, what it stands for, and what it has been standing for centuries. Because I think everyone knows that Sweden used to be like a moral superpower of the world. And this was not the recipe that led up to that success some 50 years ago.
I mean, Sweden had its very strong traditions when I grew up, but the traditions are thrown out of the window. And that's very sad.
And the thing is, in Sweden, it's considered it's almost considered filthy to be proud of your Swedish heritage. And even like the highest politicians deny that there is such a thing as Swedish culture.
Well, you saw Mona Sahlin. She said it's okay if the Swedish people evaporates, and she was the head of the Social Democrat Party for a while.
Yeah, And that's the thing. Sweden must be the only country in the world where it's considered taboo to be Swedish and
Yeah.
to enjoy and promote your own culture. It's the
Correct.
only country in the world, and that's the thing. There's no other place in the world that could ever become Sweden. But all these cultures come from a place where they will always have room to express itself. Like they will
Yeah.
never die out. What's threatened now is how Sweden will elude the younger generations. They won't understand they who they are, like what their heritage is.
Yeah. I mean, I emailed to. We were supposed to make a program last week, but we're going to do it this week with Stefan of Sanity for Sweden. And you English speaking guys, watch Sanity for Sweden. Stefan's a great guy. And we were just going to talk about exactly what you said. We're going to talk about the pride and the heritage that we used to have when we were Swedish. Now you're not allowed to be Swedish. But anyway, I'm coming to point number 2, and that actually has to do with point number 1. And I want you to comment on it. Malmö has put, it's in the southern Sweden, for you guys, you can check it, you know that. They've paid 500,000, 500,000 Swedish crowns to paint benches in the rainbow's color. It's nice you're painting the benches, but they don't give a single Swedish crown to the homeless and to the poor people. So what is an apartment and a hot bath worth for the homeless? The homeless gets nothing, but you're painting benches.
And this is not the first time that they spend money on marketing instead of human lives, because only very recently Malmo actually they repainted all public garbage cans, right? And they spent the same amount of money on it.
Yeah, but
And
I mean, yeah, go on.
this is the thing with Sweden, and that's like one of the reasons that it's been able to maintain its good reputation up until recent events. That so much money was spent on marketing in different shapes and forms, like the whole "we can accept anyone and give everyone a life with dignity," while the reality in Sweden itself is very different. And like we can accept everyone, we can provide for everyone, and we're just the best in every category. This is a good
Yeah, but
example because this will reach headlines in communist magazines worldwide.
I mean, in any country in the world, you provide for your own first, and then you do different projects. You can do any project you want. If you want to paint the park benches in the rainbow color, fine, but not when you can't afford to feed your own people.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
That's my
Prioritizing this, I know, like for where I live, homelessness is one of the most frequently brought up political questions. And I would say that the homelessness where I live is probably about as big as it is in Stockholm right now. And yet you never ever hear a Swedish politician, except the Sweden Democrats, even mention the word homeless.
correct. And I
And
mean, yeah, it continues. Sorry, it's a lot of people that came here. I'm in the park, so
yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's what. Isn't it just common sense that if a country wants to live through multiple generations and last, you have to invest in the taxpayers? It's like a circle, right? it makes perfect sense. It's like owning and running a company, like you would know, as you're a multi-entrepreneur.
Yeah, but I mean, when you run a company, you make sure you can pay your salaries, you pay your taxes, you pay your rents, whatever it is, your investment. And if you have something left over, you can help other people. But if there's nothing left over, you can't help other people. I'm sorry. And what Sweden is doing is we're borrowing money to help other people that the Swedish taxpayers has to pay off
That's
the loans.
that's the sad part, though, that we're not lending people money. We're just giving it away without any repatriation included. Like there's no conditions on the money we that leaves the country.
Yeah, but let's say the Swedish government wants to give away 150 billion, which they said to the EU. Well, why would we give it away? Why don't we lend it to an interest so the Swedish taxpayers can make money out of it as a business, and then we can give those money to the poor people, to the street people. I can't understand it.
No, it's Sweden. Like, if Sweden was a board, the Swedish government was a board of executives, it would be the most horribly run company ever because they would invest in marketing instead of paying rent and paying salaries. Then they would borrow money over and over again um, until they went bankrupt because that's going to happen one day. But then Sweden expects, because we're part of the EU, which in this context would be like if the company was owned by a higher entity, that you would just expect that they would bail you out. But they're not going to
Yeah,
do that. It's going to bankrupt you, right? Because
but look at this. I mean, you're a bit younger than me and a bit smarter, but if we built up Sweden as it used to be, as a very prosperous country, we could have helped so many more people instead of bankrupting the country. I don't know what you think about it.
The thing is, too, that it makes absolutely no sense because we have one of the highest taxes in the world and we're still broke. It's impossible to explain. We still have to borrow money for stuff. And yeah, like I said, it makes no sense whatsoever from a business standpoint, which I believe is a.
Yeah. And I've said it in many programs that how can you make a budget where you're losing money and you're donating money to other countries? I mean, I can't even comprehend that.
No.
Okay, shall we go to number 3? We said 5, so we don't go too long.
Yeah.
Matteo Salvini from the Italian Lega party is being charged because he disallowed illegal immigrants to come to Italy. My point, and that's what I want to bring up, is shouldn't the human traffickers be charged? Why do you charge the party leader who refused them entrance to Italy? What do you think about that?
Wait, so this leader was charged for not letting illegal smugglers come into the country?
Yeah, he didn't allow their boats to land in Italy. I don't know what was his position at that time, but I think he was the prime minister or something. But they're charging the leader for the party, but they're not charging the human traffickers.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all underestimating how much corruption is behind this whole mess, and how dangerous this system and this conspiracy that's happening behind closed doors, how massive it is, and how I shouldn't get too perplexed about it, because then we'll get censored, right? But there's a lot to find out there, and you have many stories too that proves how much is happening behind closed doors.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible, I think, because the human trafficking in the Mediterranean, which is done by a lot by the NGOs, could easily be stopped by the military, but instead we're allowing it to happen. And when we don't accept it, they want to punish the politicians. I mean, we could have military outside these ports to make sure the boats can't leave the ports, and it wouldn't be happening. But now they said, oh, you didn't allow them in, the boat could have sank, thousands of people could have drowned. But excuse me, you allowed the human traffickers to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of money in trafficking. I mean, that's official, right? People pay a lot of money to get on one of those boats, and you can just imagine that there's people behind the curtain that makes it possible. Because who would have had that idea in the first place if an insider didn't suggest it, right? If they said, like, actually, there's a way for you guys to come here, but we want a part of the cut.
Yeah, but look now. If we can take this as point number 4, the Swedish government, through national broadcasting, is making programs in Arabic, which is telling people how to come to Sweden and how to get social security. I saw a translation this morning where the sentiment is to basically come to Sweden. You don't have to do anything as long as you're Arabic.
Yeah, but they don't even check if you speak the language, right?
They don't.
But I know, like, for where I live now in Canada, there's an industry around immigration for sure, but that industry provides tons and tons of cash for the Canadian government and the Canadian people. While in Sweden, they just give it away. Like, there's a brilliant business opportunity there that could gain us some of the money back. But this, yeah, I think you know what I mean. But the fact,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's beyond comprehension, to be honest.
And there's no, like, okay, so you said that they have a podcast now, public service paid by the Swedish taxpayers has a podcast about how you immigrate to Sweden.
It's I mean, Sweden don't have houses, we don't have hospitals, we don't have schools, we don't have law enforcement. But where are we now? We're in April, and 30,000 residences has been given already this year. Where are they going to stay? Can you explain that to me?
Well, that's the thing. Everyone that's been to Sweden knows that it's this very picturesque, small country in Northern Europe that hasn't really been gentrified at all for probably 40 years. Like, the infrastructure is the same, the roads are very narrow, the houses are all like over 100 years old usually, and there's massive areas of unexploited land because nothing has been done. Like
Yeah.
in
I
other,
saw it. Yeah. No, no, I saw this morning. I didn't even print it out because I thought it was a joke. They're going to spend like 898 million Swedish crowns on infrastructure, on fast trains, which the fast trains they're going to invest in is already obsolete. I mean, that's Stone Age, to fix the roads, to fix all the infrastructure. But we don't have the money. We wasted all the money. We waste 300 billion every year in supporting other countries. So we can never catch up anymore. That's the problem.
and the thing is, a lot of other countries, including Canada, has solved this by being attractive for investors. But Sweden is very hostile to investments and like business opportunities because it's a very socialist country and it's strictly taboo to want to become rich and successful because the Swedish mentality is that you shouldn't think you're special. Right?
But also Sweden, if we round off this program, Sweden is controlled by one family and basically two media houses, Bonniers and Schibsted. The family that controls Sweden, you know who they are. And that makes it very dangerous because nobody else can get a footstep to make Sweden progress. These three companies can control what is going on.
Exactly. And because it's such a small country, they all know each other, kind of.
Yeah.
And they all know who to ask for a favor, who catch in the act with something unorthodox. So you have a favor to cash in. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's out of a salvation is out of reach at this point.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very hard to turn around. I mean, you saw what happened in the Suez Channel. It's very hard to turn around the ship that has gone on ground.
Yeah.
And Sweden is. Um, I don't even know. I mean, I think I'm a good problem solver, troubleshooter, but I don't know how to turn Sweden around. Even you make me a prime minister tomorrow, I don't even know where to start.
No, there's a lot of things, and that's the thing too. That like we talked about school and youth in Sweden earlier, and that's the thing. They've started, or it's kind of always been there, but it's definitely become way more intense the latest few years. That you sort of handicap the people to either think that they are victims or insignificant. And that's why so many things that happen in Sweden just pass as a normality because Swedish people don't raise their voice.
No, but I mean, listen to this. If I talk to my people, we took this before we started recording, and that's the last thing. I've said it many times. If I take the Daily Madness from Aftonbladet, then I'm not telling the truth. But they still read Aftonbladet, and when they read it, it's the truth. Because they only, yeah, exactly. They only want to read what these leftists wants to feed them. So when I say it, it's a lie. But when the leftist says it, it's the truth.
Yeah, it's been very systematic, and you have to give credit to the people that came up with this because it really has succeeded. And Swedish people are unfortunately brainwashed a lot of times. So have that in mind if you meet a Swedish person and you have questions, don't expect their answers to make sense because they don't know any better.
No, but it's like I get emails about the government here, and they're telling me it's like this and it's like that, and I said, what the FUC are you talking about? And they say, well, I read about that. I said, come here, please, take a look. Here we have a government who cares for their own people. Oh, but the Swedish newspapers said that they're shooting people left, right, and center. As I'm sitting here in the park, I haven't seen anybody being shot. But that's exactly what you're saying is the brainwash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a
Well.
couple of finishing touches from you, then we go over to the Swedish program.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, if you, it would be very fun if you commented where you're from if you're watching this, and
Absolutely.
so, and what like your peers in your home country thinks about like the perception of Sweden now. It'd be really interesting to know what our reputation is around the world. And yeah, thank you for watching. If this is a home run, we might make another one in English in the near future.
Yeah, and I would like to say like this: if there's anyone on the English speaking viewers or on that side of the bench, please contact me or contact you, and we can make a program together. It would be great fun. We can compare our ideas. It doesn't matter if you're from South Africa, North America, Asia. It would be great fun. Contact us and we do a program together. All right. Thanks a lot for this program. It was great fun. It's great fun to speak English. All the best.
Yeah, all the best.